everyone, my name is Danny from Danny's Book Corner, and welcome to 2017! This is my very first video I will be posting in the year of 2017, and I'm sorry that I really wasn't posting all that much near the end of 2016 because school. Honestly, been in a huge reading slump and I haven't been reading all that much. But today, as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to bring you a review on Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. And basically, if you don't know what this book is about, which I think most of you probably have some sort of idea of it because there are many movie adaptations of this novel, basically we follow a 7-year-old girl named Alice who is hanging around with her sister and just kind of reading a book. She gets kind of bored, and then she sees a white rabbit who is dressed in a waistcoat, and that's not the most peculiar thing about the rabbit. It's the fact that the rabbit talks is what makes Alice follow him down into the rabbit hole, which leads to Wonderland, which is basically a chimerical world of complete irrationality. It just defies all laws of logic. It's honestly mind-blowing of how Lewis Carroll came up with this world, because it is so unique. I have honestly never read anything like this. I mean, I like fantasy, but this is like nonsense fantasy to the max. I really like Lewis Carroll's writing, actually. It's very, I really honestly can't even describe it, but it just flows in a very interesting way that I just can't describe, but he describes all of these strange things, but somehow it flows. If that makes any sense. This novel is actually originally classified as a children's novel, but it's also classified as nonsense literature because, honestly, there's a lot of stuff that goes down that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. As you're reading this novel, there's a lot of things that happen, and you never know what's going to happen next. You never know what kind of creature you're going to meet, never know what's going to happen. But there are so many memorable characters in this book, and there's actually a lot of underlying themes and satire and symbols that a lot of kids don't pick up on, of course. But as an adult, you can pick up on this and really go in deep into it and analyze it, and it's really, really cool, especially because it basically is a huge satire of Victorian England society, and especially the justice system. And it is kind of mind-boggling of how Carroll is able to do that through the portrayal of the trial at the end of the very, very end of the novel of the Knave of Hearts on trial for stealing the Queen's tarts. And yes, that rhymed, I know. And also at that trial that Alice finally has like her whole big breakthrough of character development where she finally stands up for herself, finally stands up for logic and what is real as opposed to what is not real and very irrational in Wonderland, and she finally bursts out and says, "Oh, you're nothing but a pack of cards." And that's when she wakes up from the dream and you're like, oh, it was all a dream. Welp. That's pretty much how I felt when I finished this. I was like, oh, it was a dream. Okay. It was a very strange dream, but a very interesting one at that. There's actually a lot of comic relief. Probably one of the funniest parts of this novel is when I believe there are spades. They're playing cards. They're spades, and they're trying to paint the white roses that they've planted red because the Queen of Hearts is going to get mad because she doesn't like white roses, she wants red roses, and she's probably going to cut their head off if they don't do it. Actually get away and escape without the Queen having to go off with their heads. That's another funny thing. Every time something doesn't go the Queen's way, she's like, off with your head, because like execution, that's the way to solve all your problems. Alice and the Cheshire Cat are two of my favorite characters in this novel because Alice, for one, goes through so much character development. She goes from a young, innocent, inexperienced little girl to one who has experience and can stand up for herself and stand up for what she believes in. And she's not afraid to the irrational Wonderland and call out, basically. And the Cheshire Cat is just kind of the least irrational of all the characters that you meet in Wonderland. And he has his famous line, "We're all mad here." Pretty much sums up the characters of a novel pretty nicely, because there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on that doesn't really follow logically, and it's quite a whirlwind of a ride to read this novel, but it is still very, very enjoyable, and I really liked it. And I would personally give this novel a 4 out of 5 stars, and I really think that this novel is just really timeless, and so many people enjoy it because it taps into that imagination of childhood, but it still has elements where you can look at it from a Miller perspective of like a satire or something like that. I really enjoyed it, and I really hope you guys will, if you haven't read this, you go pick it up because it's a really good novel, and maybe eventually I should probably continue on and read the sequel, The Looking Glass, because that, I believe, instead of having playing cards, it really involves a game of chess. I hope you guys enjoyed this short little review of this classic Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and all my social media links are down below, so you can check those out, and I hope I will have a new video to you guys very, very shortly, and please subscribe so you don't miss out on that, and I guess I'll just see you guys all later. Bye!